Welcome to Too Many Tabs. This is a podcast about many things, because on the internet, there are many tabs. Today, we are opening a tab about a revolutionary figure known as John Brown. John Brown was a man living at a time where he saw oppression reigning across the United States of America, and he looked at the promises that were laid out in the Declaration of Independence and other documents and said, hey, what's being said here doesn't seem to match what's happening here on the ground. And after he heard some voices in his head, he decided to make a change. And we're going to talk about that change and the actions that he decided to do on today's episode of Too Many Tabs.
Too many frauds and too many scammers that we wish weren't real. Too many cons and too many spammers, and we're starting to feel like we've got too many tabs open. It's too many tabs. Remember to smile.
Let's go. We're here.
We're here.
You have to say what this podcast is.
What do you mean?
You didn't say the part where we're a husband and wife duo that sit across from each other at a table.
At a desk.
At a desk.
Yeah.
And then one of us does research, statistically usually me.
Yeah.
And then I explain a thing to you that I did a lot of research on.
Okay.
And then that's the episode of you listening to me try to explain something to you.
Yeah.
But you make it funny and silly.
Okay.
That's the podcast.
That is the podcast.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
Do people know that already?
I feel like,
Do
listen,
people know that already?
I've been playing around with the intro a little bit. I
Yeah.
don't know if the listeners have noticed. I've been playing around.
I've noticed.
You have noticed.
I've noticed that. I've noticed some incredible graphic design.
Thank you.
I've noticed some great editing.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I've noticed really cool YouTube videos.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
You've also maybe noticed longer and longer form content being
That's right.
dropped all across pearlmania500.net.
Also, I like your call to actions.
Thank you so much. My call to actions today are going to be reminding everybody that if you're listening to this episode and you get to the end, you go, hey, I really wish there was more audio forward content of Mrs. Pearlmania and Mr. Pearlmania, having communications with each other. Well, do we have news for you? There are 2 Patreon exclusive podcasts that dropped this week that are over on our Patreon at pearlmania500.net or patreon.com/pearlmania500. And what are those 2 podcasts? Number one's The Warm Up, which is our weekly podcast that we record before we start. Because listen, you think we sit down in this mood already happy,
No.
smiling ear to ear, remembering to smile, remembering how to talk to each other as 2 40-year-olds who've been raising a 1-year-old who just learned how to walk and also knows how to punch?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't happen naturally. No, we sit down for about 15 to 30 minutes and we record another podcast called The Warm Up where we talk about our week and also about like all the different things happening in the news and the world around us.
Also, do you think that we're raising him? Because I feel like he's the boss.
Don't you start. He's not a rescue. Okay? He's not a rescue puppy.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he's the manager of the household.
Yeah, no, but we're still raising him.
Are we?
Yeah, we're still parenting him.
I guess you're right.
Okay, it's like I'm like, hey, don't put a fork in that electric socket.
Yeah.
And then he goes, shut up, and he punches me directly in the face.
See, I'm saying he's your boss. That's boss behavior.
Yeah, no, but he still
I had a boss punch me in the face
no.
once.
He still doesn't get to put the fork in the electric socket though. He wants to. What he wants to do.
Where did he get a fork?
Listen, okay. Sometimes I get food poisoning and I leave implements around the house, which we talk about on the episode The Warm Up. But the other episode that just dropped is our, I want to say award winning, but they don't give out awards for this. But Vibing Out with the Food Moron.
Yep.
Also known as Vibing Out with the Food Idiot.
Whichever one works.
Also
honestly.
just called Food Idiot. It's a podcast where you explain a simple to make meal to me, a person who does not know how to cook.
Yeah.
And I ask all the stupid questions that people would ask in that situation. We've done episodes about deviled eggs before. We've done episodes about a quick soup.
Cookies.
And today's, this week's episode for the end of February, for the month, that episode was about white people tacos, also known as gringo tacos.
Delicious.
How to make the hard shell, how to brown the beef, how to make your own spices, what type of bagged lettuce to use, what type of bagged cheese to use, all the different things that you can get at the grocery store and how to prepare them all together. Yeah. That's on this week's episode. And listen, for all of you guys out there, we're going to wrap up all the opening here and get right into John Brown and talk a lot about a man who definitely killed a lot of slave owners. Yeah. But we're going to get into that in a second. Before we get started, if you are listening to us on Spotify, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or any of the other podcasting apps, please rate us 5 stars or give us a rating.
Like and subscribe.
5
on
YouTube, comment, all those different things.
See, that's a call to action, baby. You did it. You nailed it.
I nailed them all.
You did.
And that's the thing is people are like, oh, what do I have to,
How can I support this awesome podcast?
Yeah.
And their awesome YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And their awesome TikTokies and Instagrammies. Like and subscribe.
Like
Show
and subscribe,
up.
yeah.
Follow. Listen to all the silly stuff we do.
Yeah. And the final thing I'm going to tell you guys is go, as we've been saying repeatedly, please keep reaching out to your congresspeople and your senators. And when they're having town halls, go to them.
Show up.
And then watch the Speaker of the House of the United States accuse you of being a paid protester who isn't actually
We're getting paid?
Apparently. But anyway, that's our call to actions this week. And we are now going to get started with this incredible podcast. And Mrs. P had some assistance from Sad Page to put this all together. So, are you ready, Mrs. P?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Listeners, are you ready? Let's go.
You ready to go?
I'm ready to rock. Tell me
right.
about John Brown.
I'm going to tell you, okay, first we have to start at the very beginning.
Okay.
Which is how I ended up here with my episode of John Brown.
Okay, sure.
Which is I was on Threads.
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 The
knockoff Twitter.
Yeah, Instagram's knockoff Twitter.
And I was on there scrolling through.
You do like fighting people on Threads.
Here's the thing. I fight certain battles. But I saw a post and then I went to the comments. I was like, what are people responding?
Yeah.
And I just saw people fighting and arguing with an idiot. And the thing is, I don't often argue with idiots. I don't like to waste my time. That whole like pigeons knock all the chessboard and like the pigs like being in shit type of thing. That whole thing. So like I don't like to argue with idiots. But I was looking at this post and the people arguing with them, and what they were saying was incredibly racist. And I looked at it and I said, why
the original poster?
The original poster.
Okay.
And I was like, why the fuck are you arguing with people that John Brown would have shot? And then I said to myself, I'm going to write, don't argue with people John Brown would have shot. And then I said, wait a minute, that sounds like a threat out of context. So I didn't post it on the internet.
Okay.
But it got me to thinking is that I don't think enough people know about John Brown.
I'm going to go, I guarantee you enough people don't know about John Brown.
And so what I did was I reached out to my favorite librarian.
Yep.
Who happens to be in Virginia, where some of the most famous parts of John Brown's story happened.
Yep.
And I said, can you help me do research on John Brown so I can get the historically accurate information, not just what I know? And so we've compiled together what I think is incredible information. Now, here's a little spoiler. You know a lot about John Brown.
I do know a lot because, number one, I had a history teacher in 5th grade who was very, very into the Civil War and very into the things that ran up to the Civil War, mainly because she really liked drawing out battle plans.
Okay.
She really liked on the whiteboard. She really loved drawing out Civil War battle plans. That was her thing.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing for a teacher to be into. But 5th grade, let's go. The second thing is I've been to Harper's Ferry a few times.
We've been there together.
We've been there together. Harper's Ferry is a beautiful piece of land. It's in a really interesting corner.
Yep.
And I really, really liked it. And John Brown is brought up a lot especially during the Civil Rights Movement. And he's referenced a lot in some folk songs and a bunch of other things. So he's always been an interesting character.
Yeah, his great beard.
Amazing beard.
Incredible beard.
Which is wild because most of the pictures we have of him, he's not bearded. We have a lot of paintings, and there's a lot of drawings of him with this massive beard and this crazy. He has what I like to describe. He has on top of his head, Lyle Lovett hair.
Yeah.
ZZ Top beard.
Yeah.
And so like the combination of the two is insane. But he's just such like a weirdly respected man. And then you hear what he did, and you're like,
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd let him be this respected. And then Luigi showed up, and I was like, I guess we're pro John Brown again.
We're back, baby.
Luigi Mangione.
So let's not jump to the end. All right, let's start at the beginning.
Yeah, let's start at the beginning.
John Brown's father name was Owen Brown.
Okay.
He was a wealthy cattle farmer in Hudson, Ohio.
Okay.
And he was the founder of the Western Reserve Anti-Slavery Society, among other organizations he ran. He gave speeches advocating for the immediate abolition of slavery. He was also an organizer and station master on the Underground Railroad in Hudson, Ohio.
Okay.
So this is the man that raised John Brown.
Yeah, it's a dude who rocks.
Yeah.
Guy who rocks is like slavery bad.
Slavery
bad.
bad.
Not only is slavery bad, but I'm going to help people escape slavery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously, he passed these beliefs down to his son, John, who was born in 1800. John Brown credits his dedication to abolition to his experience as a 12-year-old boy witnessing a young black boy get beaten with a shovel because he was an enslaved person. However, given his father's beliefs and actions, it's, there was probably a concept in there that he already understood.
Yeah.
That this was very, very fucking wrong.
Yeah, but I think his I think much like in 2020 with George Floyd, like we've all understood that like police brutality is bad and systemic racism is bad. It's once you see a certain, like, it actually happens. There's the intellectual, bad. And then there's the visceral of like feeling of being in that moment.
Exactly.
And so I'm sure standing however close he was to witnessing that in reality, instead of just reading about it in a book or just talking about at the dinner table, it's such a different feeling.
Absolutely. In 1825, John Brown moved to Richmond Township in Pennsylvania, PA baby.
Okay.
And built a barn, a tannery, and in his barn, he had a secret room to hide escaping enslaved people.
Wait, what year was this again?
1825.
So he's 25 years old
Yeah.
now. Okay, so at 25, he moves to PA.
Yep.
And now he's like, I'm going to do my own stop on the Underground Railroad.
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
He helped hide and transport escaped enslaved people. It's estimated that he helped over 2,500 enslaved people reach Canada, according to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development.
That's great. 2,000 people to reach
2,500 to get them to Canada. Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He also worked to recruit other Underground Railroad station masters as well. So he helped get people to start their own part of the Underground Railroad
Almost
to
like
Canada.
Like branch their own franchise.
Exactly. He was franchising.
Yeah. It's franchising the Underground Railroad.
He's like, you want to buy a barn?
Yeah.
And then you buy a barn, and this is what you do. This is how you do it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, you have to use this recipe for the donuts, though. John Brown also maybe potentially was super into getting ADHD hyper fixated on stuff and had a lot of hobbies and did a lot of stuff, jobs.
Okay. All right. So real quick, I've been thinking about this a lot because what was that I was watching the other day?
I don't know.
Oh no, we've been watching that show that's set in the 1820s.
Oh,
It's Taboo.
Taboo.
Yeah, it's not Ed Hardy, right?
No, not Ed Hardy. Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Ed Hardy, a lot different. Yeah, it's a British show that's set back in like the 1820s, around the end, where it's the 1810s, around the end of the War of 1812, and it's about Tom Hardy in London and all this different stuff, but he gets a lot done in a day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is he getting so much done in a day? I asked as I was playing Power Washing Simulator and looking at Twitter.
Hate that Power Wash Simulator. If I walk in and see you playing that Power Wash Simulator one more time.
Okay. Mrs. P is very mad.
Switch into the fucking trash.
All right. Okay. So I got the Power Wash Simulator game because I heard there's a Warhammer 40K download, and because I thought that was funny that you could power wash a tank in Warhammer, and I did.
Yeah.
And then you're like, "What are you doing? You playing Balatro?" I was like, "No, I'm playing Power Wash Simulator." And then you said you could power wash the house.
I was like, if you want to clean, there are dishes. There's a garage.
It's not about
take
cleaning.
out the trash.
It's not about cleaning.
Sweep the floors.
It's about scraping.
If you're playing a video game to clean, but you're not cleaning, if you want to clean, I got things you could clean. And I need you to know that if you're sitting on the couch for 40 minutes playing a game about cleaning, but you're not helping me clean, I don't think any judge or jury is going to convict me.
So my point being is that back in the day, you used to have these people who would get like obsessed about like a type of beetle, right? And then they'd run around, they'd write all these books about beetles, they would journal about beetles or the stars. Every night they had to spend 6 hours staring at the stars and doing these different things. Now we have them play live service video games. So like they have to play like World of Warcraft, or they have to go on their phone, and every 2 hours you need to log in and make sure you do your Jewel game because that's where the unlock is and all this different stuff. So instead we've gamified all of that time and information and what we care about, and when it comes to our activism, we put it all on the internet and we need to show it and get little rewards and little treats for it instead of actually saving 2,000 people and taking them to Canada.
So here's some other stuff he did. Because
Sure.
the dude was busy.
Yeah.
He was fucking doing the thing. All right, number one. He helped survey roads to build better roads for his community. He erected a school in his hometown and was the first teacher at the school. Okay. He established a post office in Randolph Township, PA, and then was named the postmaster of the post office by President John Quincy Adams, and then reappointed by President Andrew Jackson.
That's crazy because those two hated each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you're super good at being a postmaster.
Well, it also might have been that might have been one of those situations of you're here.
Yeah.
I feel like
He's running the post office
yeah.
and the school.
Okay, again, I want to point out something. Video games, television, porn, the internet,
Yeah.
YouTube. None of these things exist. God, there's a lot of hours in
So
the day.
what you're telling me is that you just need to turn off your phone once in a while to get some shit done.
It's literally what I
Have you
did yesterday.
considered?
That's literally what I did yesterday. I literally did that. I turned off my phone. I took the baby, and we went to places. Where we go to? We went to the library, went to the post office, went to all these different things that John Brown would have had to establish back in the day because he was living in the edge of the wilderness. Because the places you're describing are not built because they're too busy walking across the land that was stolen from people.
So he declined to serve in a local militia and was forced to pay a fine. A government militia.
Okay.
He also operated an interstate cattle and leather business.
Okay.
In 1829,
This is in 4 years? That's incredible. That's incredible.
in 1829, some white families asked John Brown to help them drive off Native Americans who hunted annually in the area. He called it a mean act, declined, and said, quote, "I would sooner take my gun and help drive you out of the country."
Fuck yeah, dude. All right. I was about to start doing a whole thing about no one's illegal on stolen land. And then John Brown was like, motherfucker. You know how crazy... You know how fucking based you have to be in 1829 to be like, nah, I'm on the native side. That's fucking crazy. Like, that's wild.
He then became a bank director.
Hold on, wait. I'm still not... Okay. I'm still not over John Brown picking up a gun and be like, well, let's talk about a land acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And then he became a bank director.
Then he became a director of a bank.
Okay.
He then studied up and became an expert in fine sheep and wool and managed flocks to sell fine wool products.
I'm going to speak out of turn here.
Okay.
I feel like becoming an expert in sheep.
Yeah. No.
No, it's not, I'm not doing that joke. I just mean like in general, like I'm a sheep expert.
Well, there's so many different types of wool. There's cashmere wool. There's like the type of Irish wool. There's different ways to treat the wool after it's been removed from the sheep to give it different textures. And like when we did the fucking nursery rhyme episode, remember how we talked about Baba Black Sheep and how different colors of wool is important because you have to know how to dye it specifically?
Yeah.
So being an expert in wool in this time,
I'm just saying,
important.
I'm just saying that feels more like I took a course.
He didn't. He probably had to go apprentice or learn
No, I know, but I'm saying like, yeah, I'm talking about equivalent. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I became an expert. It's like, how long did that take? About 6 weeks. Like that doesn't
Okay.
feel like...
I want you to stop besmirching.
I'm not besmirching. I'm just saying I have the list of all the different stuff you're going with. He became an expert in sheep.
I want to tell you what he did. So we also said, okay, so he has an interstate cattle business. He owns a tannery and a barn. He's a teacher, a postmaster, a bank director. And then at his farm, he started inviting people to come to his farm to, quote, provide guidance and assistance to Black people who were attempting to establish farms in their area.
Okay.
So he started teaching them how to farm.
So he's doing a farm school.
Exactly.
That's
so
cool.
he went to learn how to do sheep so he could teach other people how to do wool and sheep.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Sorry I spoke too soon.
Yeah.
My apologies. My apologies, if you will.
And then the last thing I have here, he did start breeding horses. But he stopped breeding horses because he learned that people were using his horses as race horses, and he hated betting and gambling as much as he hated profanity.
He didn't like cursing?
No.
Oh, shit. We're so close, bud. Hating gambling? I was right there. I was like, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, he's like, DraftKings sucks.
Yeah. You guys have no idea how often we've turned down DraftKings subscriptions
DraftKings.
and members. Like, that sponsorship, we're just like, no.
Get out of here.
Listen, some of the others were like,
Go
oh,
on now, get.
But when it comes to DraftKings or whatever, well, I can't remember what the other one was called. But they'd
all the
show up.
same.
I know, they're all the same to me. But that's why we want to thank you guys once again for joining us at PearlMania500.net. Okay, so.
So yeah, those are the main cool, all the other things he was doing, right?
Yeah.
So in this whole story, these are all the other things he's doing.
Okay.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of things.
That's a lot of things to go.
Hobbies. He's really out here.
And the whole time, meanwhile, the whole time, as he's doing all this different stuff, the number one we should put a pin in is he is getting 2,000 people to Canada.
Yes, 2,000 enslaved people. He's helping them escape to Canada.
I still haven't folded my laundry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I still haven't folded my laundry. I did my laundry.
Yeah.
It's in the basket. Mm-hmm. You can see it if you look at the YouTube how wrinkled this shirt is.
Yeah. Didn't fold it quick enough. Got the wrinkles.
You know what?
You want to take a break? This was a lot of work.
What's a lot? All right. Okay. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back after this. Life doesn't have to be boring. If every day feels exactly the same, shake things up with viia. Viia is dedicated to harnessing the natural benefits of hemp to make your life better. Get better sleep, have more focus, recover more quickly, or just sit back and feel the vibes. Whatever you're trying to do, viia can help with products that range from 0 to 100 milligrams of THC. Their THC and THC-free gummies and vapes are award-winning, and they've got topicals, calming drops, and more for you to try. I received a box of viia products, and let me tell you guys, I immediately went with some of their sleep gummies, and right now, I needed something to both calm me down and help me get to sleep, and the viia gummies have really been helping. They've really been helping. So stop being bored, unfocused, or in pain. Viia can help get things back on track and level up your life. If you're over 21, check out the link to viia in our description and use codes TABS to receive 15% off. If you're new to viia, get a free gift of your choice. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, support the show, and tell them we sent you. Enhance your everyday with viia. Check that link in the description and use promo code TABS.
Let's fucking go.
Let's
dude.
go. So he did a lot.
He did a lot. All right, now it's 1837.
1837.
37 years old.
Okay. It's 3 years younger than me.
A man named Elijah Parrish Lovejoy was murdered in Illinois for printing an abolitionist newspaper.
Okay.
And John Brown was fucking pissed off about this and became even more militant in his beliefs and his behaviors. Brown publicly vowed after this incident, quote, "Here before God, in the presence of these witnesses, from this time, I consecrate my life to the destruction of slavery."
Oh,
End
fuck yeah.
quote. Brown objected to black congregates being relegated to the balcony of his church. So he said that at the church in front of everybody because he was, pissed about what happened to Mr. Lovejoy.
Yeah.
But also because of how congregates were being treated in his own church.
Okay.
John Brown did have 3 sons, John, Jason, and Owen, and they were all expelled from the church, including John, because they had a black man come sit in their pew with them.
Oh.
And the deacons of the church tried to persuade him to concede and admit to his error.
Is this still in Pennsylvania?
No, I think he is in Massachusetts.
Okay.
I think he might be in Massachusetts.
Okay.
He moves around a lot. So he is in this church and he has this man sit with him, and everybody in the church is like, "You have to apologize. You have to admit you're wrong." And he's like, "I'm absolutely not going to do it ever." And so they're like, "We're expelling you from the church."
I love that. I'm absolutely not going to do that ever. I'm John Brown. It's like that's like the way you said it. I'm absolutely not going to. No.
No.
How about this? No. It's like I can just. But meanwhile, he's like, "I'm going to dedicate my life to the eradication of slavery." But in the Mrs. P's version, it's just, no.
His wife and various family members joined the Wesley Methodists, but John Brown never connected himself with any church ever again.
After that, he was like, no.
He's like, fuck these churches.
If anything, I'm Inc.
Yep.
I'm an independent network.
No, he's
charismatic
not.
Christian.
In 1847, Frederick Douglass met John Brown for the first time in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Of the meeting, Frederick Douglass stated, quote, "Though a white gentleman, Brown is in sympathy with a black man and is deeply interested in our cause, as though his own soul has been pierced with the iron of slavery." It was at this meeting that John Brown first outlined his plan to Douglass to lead a war to free slaves.
Oh, wow.
And that was 1847.
Could you imagine being Frederick Douglass, a man who was sold into slavery himself, who had to escape, who has been traveling the country and trying to build a coalition of people to overturn slavery, and then you walk into a room and John Brown's just like, "We should kill them. We should murder them all." Yeah. And he's just like, "Oh, buddy. Oh, I cannot say that. I cannot." And John Brown's like, "I can fucking say it.
John Brown's
I can fucking say it.
ally.
Ally."
Okay, 1851.
Oh my God, this dude's jumping around so much. All right, so when he's 47 years old, he meets Frederick Douglass.
And he's like, "I'm going to start a war against slavery."
Yeah. And Frederick's like, "Oh, I mean, I'm for it, but holy shit."
Dude. In 1851, John Brown established the League of Gileadites, which is such a hard name for me. It's Gileadites. Gileadites.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
An organization that works to protect escaped slaves from slave catchers.
That's so crazy that they're the Gileadites when like Gilead is the name used in The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
For America. I'm guessing, is there some sort of like religious?
Yeah, Gilead is like a perfect place, right?
Oh, is that what it is?
I think it's like the Mecca.
Oh, it's like utopia.
Yes, I think Gilead is like that. That's a term.
Okay,
for that.
got it.
The League of Gileadites
Just say the League.
The League was established as an anti-slavery militia with its goal of self-defense against slave catchers. In the eyes of the federal government and federal law as constituted with the enactment of the Fugitive Slave Act, this organization clearly promoted illegal civil armed resistance.
Okay.
So this was an illegal militia against the government for the federal government.
Okay.
From Brown's founding of the League onward, not one person was ever taken back into slavery from Springfield, Massachusetts. So the day he invented it, nobody was ever taken back from Mass.
Got it. Yeah, because so what was happening is people were getting to the north, and then slave catchers were coming to the north and then catching people
and bringing them back.
and then dragging them back to the south. And so what you're saying is John Brown and his people stood around with guns and was like, "You do that shit, we fucking murder you."
Yes, that's exactly what threatening violence. Yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
In 1856.
So what you're telling me, wait, real quick. So what you're telling me is so these slave catchers who are cold as ice showed up into a neighborhood, maybe went door to door checking on people's papers. And then when they were like, "No, we're going to take you out of here because we're as cold as ice," John Brown and his people were like, no, we'll fucking kill you.
Yeah.
In 1851.
Yes.
Back then, historically. That's what people did.
This is a history podcast.
This is a comedy history podcast.
In 1856, Kansas was an emerging state. We didn't even have a full Kansas yet.
Oh, God. Life was so much better.
And
I'm going to tell y'all, life was a lot sweeter before Kansas.
Anyway, Kansas had yet to proclaim itself either pro-slavery or free of slavery.
Oh, yeah. Bloody Kansas.
Yep. So John Brown and two of his sons went to Kansas to persuade people to vote against slavery.
Went to Kansas.
Yes.
You keep saying Kansas.
Kansas.
There you go.
I apologize.
It's okay.
State.
So, okay. And this is part of what's called known as Bloody Kansas. But yeah, Kansas was allowed to choose. They were going to have a vote. And that was how it was all being set up. It was like a weird campaign, political campaign, because nobody could agree on which side it should be when they came up with this one specific compromise.
Yeah.
Because slavery was such a complicated issue in white people's minds that they were like, well, what if we do like half slavery? And they kept being like, well, we could be a little bit pregnant. What if some of them are semi-fired? Anyway, That was kind of where this kind of stuck. So they were like, oh, well, we'll just make this a local issue. We'll leave this up to the state.
Leave it up to the states.
Because we know famously when things are left up to the state, everything works out fine and everybody's happy.
Yep.
So John Brown and his sons go to Kansas.
Yes.
To influence. They were doing it's kind of they were doing canvassing.
They were canvassing.
They're canvassing Kansas.
See, I was saying it right the whole time.
Yeah.
On May 21st and 22nd in 1856, a group of pro-slavery men attacked the Free State town of Lawrence. So a Free State town is a town of freed black people.
Okay.
In Lawrence, 2 people were killed. Buildings were burned and the newspaper press was destroyed. 2 days later, John Brown with his sons and some other people attacked the settlement of, oh my God, I'm going to butcher this, Potawatomi, and murdered 5 pro-slavery men.
You nailed Potawatomi.
Nailed it.
You nailed it. But let's roll back a little bit here. Let's go back to Lawrence, to the free town.
Yeah.
The reason they burned the press is so that way the information couldn't get out. Burning the press is the equivalent of going in and destroying all the cell towers for back then. That's just for the listeners to understand of like, oh yeah, and they also took out the newspaper. Well, this is how they spread information, is you would print all the information in the newspaper, and then that is what could get sent out, and then that could also be used as a paper of record. And so for people who were born in the town, all this different stuff back before we had centralized databases where these things went, that maybe a coked up ketamine-filled South African and a bunch of crazy Nazi 19-year-olds would run into and start picking around at. Instead, all of that will be stored at the local newspaper. And so that's why that's very, very important. So by destroying the newspaper, you're actually destroying the very paper existence of the town.
Yes.
So 2 people die there. But the destruction is even bigger because it's also like saying, go on, get out of here. The second half of it, though, John Brown then turning back around saying, you got 2 of ours, so we get 5 of yours.
Classic John Brown. Classic John Brown.
Classic John Brown.
8 days later, another skirmish happens, this time with pro-slavery men from Missouri.
Okay.
On June 2nd...
Kansas City Chiefs fans.
Yep. On June 2nd, John Brown and his guys surrounded the troops, killed 4 men, wounded several others, and captured their horses and arms.
Meanwhile, by the way, they're doing all this with muskets.
Yeah.
They're doing, fuck you! Bah! Fuck! Hold on! I gotta bite a thing. I gotta pour in the powder. I hate you so much. I'm pouring the powder. Stuff the ball. All right. Bah! Fuck! I missed again. I'm gonna stab you with a stick.
Yeah, that's accurate.
That is. Welcome to 1857 Kansas.
In the months that followed, John Brown and his men were active along the Kansas-Missouri border, and on August 30th, 1856, a heated battle took place at the small village of Osawatomie. 5 of Brown's followers were killed, including his son Frederick. Osawatomie was eventually burned to the ground and earned John Brown the nickname of Tommy, and hardened his stance against slavery even more. He would later remark, quote, "I have only one death to die. I will die fighting for this cause." End quote.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep.
I mean, that's a boss quote. That's a boss quote. So wait, let's go back real quick to Osawatomie, just because I didn't quite understand. So is Osawatomie, was that a free place or that anti-slavery spot and that got attacked, or was that?
I think, if I remember this correctly, when I was reading through it, Osawatomie was not a freed town.
Yeah, but
it was a town full of pro-slavery people.
Okay, got it.
And he and his people had a big fight with them.
Yeah.
And they ended up burning it to the ground, which is why he got the nickname. Gotcha.
Because he was everyone would remind me, like, that's the guy who burned down Osawatomie. And so I thought maybe the protector or something. That's why I wanted to be.
Maybe. Oh, I don't know. I wish I would have that note in front of me, but I don't.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, that's why I wanted to try to get some clarification for myself. But that's the reason why we also tell everybody.
We're not journalists.
We're not journalists. We're not researchers. We're not historians. And this is why you should look deeper yourself on people like John Brown. This is a jumping off point.
Yeah.
You know, because you should be sitting back and thinking about with deep thoughts. If you were stuck in a situation where there was slavery happening in the United States, where would you stand? Why don't you tell us? If you're watching us on YouTube, get down in the comments.
Oh, no.
And tell us. Write a nice comment down there. If you're listening to us on a podcasting app, maybe go tell us in the reviews on Spotify or over on Apple Music. You know, this is a call to action in the weirdest way.
No.
Take a violent stance against human slavery.
Oh, my God.
Right now on the internet.
Yeah,
Doesn't it feel weird? Doesn't it feel weird that we're at a time in this world where taking a stance against racism and slavery makes you go like, well, I don't know. I don't want to lose my job. Doesn't that feel weird? Huh. 40 years of my life didn't have to have worry of that fucking thought. But anyway, we'll be right back on this podcast. We're going to tell you a little bit more about how John Brown
A little bit more. I'm going to tell you a lot of bit more.
Spread the great word about DEI. They kept planes in the sky. No, listen, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Our YouTube comments are safe. We weirdly, I've gone through our analytics. We've actually curated a very good audience compared to other YouTube comment sections. And when I see people come in being idiots, you know what happens? They get dogpiled.
Yeah, that's true.
Somebody will come in and be like, whatever, I hate you, you're a lib cuck. And then the next one's just like, all right, Steve, we found you. And they're like, whoa, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, well, you should have used Deletme, and that way your private information wouldn't have been on the internet.
Oh, man.
Deletme.com/promania20. There you go. That's the promo. Okay. Get 20% off a plan today. Don't get doxxed. All right. So, what? I'm all fired up.
You're all fired up on John Brown, baby.
I'm fired up on abolitionist.
John Brown, yeah.
I'm fired up on a good abolitionist.
Well, let's talk about Harper's Ferry. Let's go to Virginia.
We're jumping.
We're going right to Virginia, babes.
Okay. Because the Bloody Kansas thing was a controversial time.
Yeah. Well,
it was.
Fucking, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but there was a lot of violence that happened there. And there was, you know, it is one of the things that's brought up often by historians to be like, I don't know, maybe he's not like completely great, because I think there was like a family and a few other things that happened.
No one's perfect.
No one is perfect,
especially when we're looking back at historical people. Like, you can't claim perfection.
But it's also one of those ones where, again, you're at a time where he's looking at the literally human slavery.
Yeah.
And how he believes this is the way to deal with this is through these actions of violence.
Yeah. Real dog with a bone on this situation, not thinking outside of what he wants to get done.
Yep.
So John Brown comes up with this plan for Harper's Ferry, which is in Virginia. There's a United States armory there. Okay. And he wants to break into the armory, seize the weapons, and then free the slaves in that area. Okay. He believes that when he gets to the slaves, they will join in fighting for their freedom. Mm-hmm. Right? So on Sunday, October 16th in 1859.
Can I paint a picture real fast?
Yeah, of course.
Sure, 1859. But I would want to point a picture about the location of Harper's Ferry and why this location is very important. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't realize it's not far away from Washington, D.C.
Very close to D.C.
It's very close to Washington, D.C. It is a secluded area that, because of the rivers, though, is basically on a highway. Mm-hmm. Back then, the rivers are the fastest way to travel. So because you have there's a confluence of rivers. I mean, confluence means where rivers come together. There's all these different areas so they can move quickly. Word could travel very fast. All of these different things are right there. So he strategically picked this point on purpose. Mm-hmm. And a big part of it is knowing that it'll be able to, as you were saying, to get to the different plantations and slaves in the area, that they can start this uprising together. There have been multiple slave uprisings before this.
Yes.
Most of the time that are typically being run by slaves themselves.
Yes.
So the head of them as a slave. This would be different, especially in America, for a slave uprising to be had a white general, basically. Yeah. To have a white officer corps is the part that would be different, if not novel. Mm-hmm. And so that is kind of where that change comes in.
So on October 16th, 1859, the late night raid on the armory begins. John Brown and 21 recruits, including his sons, Oliver, Owen, and Watson, snuck into the armory.
He kept making kids, huh?
Listen, you got to build an army.
I know, but earlier on you said 3. You said Jason, John,
time.
and Owen. Yeah, and now you just keep throwing new ones.
Frederick died. So.
I'd never even heard Frederick was born. And then before I knew it, Frederick's dead.
Listen, you got to keep making them.
I know, I understand.
They seized the armory and arsenal. Throughout the night, they took several more buildings before any shots were fired. But by morning on the 17th, after the initial confusion of the previous evening, the town was up in arms. Everybody in the town's pissed. Many farmers and soldiers began firing at John Brown's crew, and they were forced to retreat into the fire engine house on the armory grounds.
Yep, and that's a small little. It's really a small barn.
Yeah,
it's like a 2-horse barn, very tiny, very rickety. They have a reconstruction of it at Harper's Ferry now.
Yeah, a company of United States Marines commanded by Colonel Robert E. Lee arrived the morning of October 18th. Their purpose was to retake the engine house and capture Brown and his raiders. Lee sent J.E.B. Stewart to the engine house with a note ordering Brown to surrender. Brown declined and stated, quote, he would only surrender if he and his men were allowed to escape, end quote.
Give up. Sure, let us go. What?
Incredible.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
While Brown and Stewart were talking, Marines and state militiamen stormed the fortress. The raiders fired back, but the soldiers soon beat down the door and were inside. John Brown was struck by the sword of a Marine and beaten until he was unconscious. 3 local men, 2 Marines, and 10 raiders were killed, including Brown's son. 2 sons, Oliver and Watson. John Brown and those raiders who didn't escape were taken prisoner and put on trial in Charlestown, West Virginia.
Where we've been.
Yes.
We actually, when you and I went to Harper's Ferry, but also because we were driving to Dollywood.
Yeah.
It was right before COVID, a magical time, 2019, October 2019.
Road trip.
It was
from Philly through DC, Harper's Ferry, then out to Tennessee.
Tennessee. The foliage was slowly starting to change. Chill was starting to come in the air.
Yeah.
We got to Charlestown. We stayed in a nice, idyllic bed and breakfast.
That was definitely haunted.
Well, you kept saying
Super
it.
haunted.
And I was like, I don't hear nothing but creaks.
Yeah, and I was like, this place is
And then they were
haunted.
like, here's the Confederate battle flag we found under the ground.
And I was like, this place is fucking haunted. We got to get out of here.
But it was down the street from a Sonic.
And a casino.
Yep. They kept talking about the casino. You guys got to go to the casino. We just got one. But yeah, it's Charlestown is right there, and it's the little town. Yeah.
Brown's trial began on October 27th and lasted until the 31st. After only 45 minutes of deliberation by the jury, he was found guilty of treason and conspiring and advising slaves and other rebels and murder in the first degree. So,
I mean, to be completely fair,
yeah.
he is guilty.
Yep.
We're not saying he isn't.
I'm not saying he wasn't guilty.
And also, yeah, at the time, it makes total sense. He was caught, red-handed in the thing. He literally ordered people to shoot people.
Yeah.
All those different things. Yes.
Yeah.
Morally, though, it's completely fine.
No, it's fine. On November 2nd, the judge sentenced John Brown to be hung on December 2nd, so 30 days, on the same day of his sentencing as the other conspirators. They were also tried and found guilty.
Yeah.
They were also sentenced to death and were hanged like a week or so later on December 16th.
Okay.
Before hearing his sentence, Brown was allowed to make an address to the court. I have some of that quote.
Okay. This is John Brown's address to the court.
After he's been declared guilty.
Yep.
I believe to have interfered as I have done in behalf of his despised poor was not wrong, but right. Now, if it be deemed necessary that I should forfeit my life for the furtherance of the ends of justice, and mingle my blood further with the blood of my children and the blood of millions in this slave country whose rights are disregarded by wicked, cruel, and unjust enactments, I submit, so let it be done. End quote.
All right.
Facts.
Okay.
Also, I have another quote. On December 1st, one day prior to his execution, he gave a message to one of the guards. Because, I guess the guards were like, well, is there any last thing you want to say to us? And this is a quote to the guards. I, John Brown, am now quite certain that the crime of this guilty land will never be purged away but with blood. I have, as I now think, vainly flattered myself that without very much bloodshed, it might be done. End quote.
Yep.
And that's the story of John Brown.
I mean, he wasn't wrong.
Nope.
Shane Gillis has a joke about how the Civil War was just the North going down and shooting the racism out of the South. But he wasn't that. The big thing with John Brown is that the fact that he was white stepping forward did change a lot of people's views, especially in the North and especially in areas where abolition was already, I don't want to say like in vogue, but basically accepted.
Yeah.
There's a thing that happens where you get used to being like, I'm against it. Yeah, I'm against it. Okay, great. Like, I don't have to do anything else. I'm against it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. But here's a guy who's against it and he did a little bit more. And you're like, all right, but how much? Whoa, that much more?
A lot more.
He sacrificed that much?
Absolutely.
And that change also then began to scare the South.
Yes.
And that is what actually led the South to seceding once Lincoln was elected. Because the South was like afraid that the North was covered in John Browns.
Yes.
And it really wasn't. Like, when you go back and you look at some of the things and some of the discussions that were happening, like the question of slavery and how it was ended up being handled was pushed because the South overreacted, believing that slavery was about to be taken out anyway. And then once, by overreacting that much, then Lincoln and the North basically was like, well, then fuck you, we'll just do it now.
Yeah.
You're already in open rebellion. Like, the Emancipation Proclamation itself wasn't there were northern states. Delaware was a slaveholding state. Maryland was a slaveholding state. Their slaves were not freed by the Emancipation Proclamation.
Yeah.
That didn't come until after, once the constitutional amendment was finally ratified. And then those people who were held in slavery there weren't made full citizens until the 14th Amendment, which created birthright citizenship, which we are now apparently trying to fucking do away with. Okay. So, it's a big thing. All of this shit is tied together. And so when you see a lady stand up with a cross around her neck behind a podium and say, actually, birthright citizenship isn't real, just realize that, like, John Brown is right there behind her as a ghost with a big beard and Lyle Lovett hair going, the fuck it is?
Yeah.
So
the spirit of John Brown and his story is incredibly important. And this episode, not that this started, this episode started because I was like, don't argue with people John Brown would have shot. Don't waste your time. There's other things we could be doing. We could be building barns. We could be becoming teachers and postmasters and refusing to serve in bad militias and teaching people in our community how to do things that maybe they don't know how to do so they can better themselves. There's a lot to do that's not arguing in the comments. That being said, sometimes I do argue in the comments and I end up posting them as screenshots.
Yeah, you do.
But I want us all, if I had a soapbox to stand on, is I want us all to argue less in the comments so we can use that energy.
So we can argue more in the streets.
No, but really, I mean it. Okay?
Allegedly.
I'm just hitting that for Attorney General Pam Bondi. Okay? I'm just hitting that one for Miller.
This is a comedy podcast.
Yeah, it's a comedy podcast.
This is a comedy history podcast. We're just talking about jokes, about history.
If this wasn't a history podcast, then why would we have this button?
And that's a no Nazi guarantee.
Why would we have that button?
If this wasn't history podcast.
Only
have
a
that
comedy history podcast.
Yep.
Welcome to Too Many Tabs. That's why you want to be you're like, please describe this show right now.
This episode is gonna get used against me in a court of law.
No,
obviously, like, whatever, man.
Hey, cool.
Get me Luigi's lawyer.
You know the funny part is like some people would be like, oh, but what about sponsors? I'd be like, the same ones are still. Look, they're probably on Roseanne's podcast too. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Andrew Tate's in Florida now. Fuck it. There are no laws. Okay, so Mrs. P.
Yeah.
Guess what?
What?
We've reached our favorite part of the episode.
What's that?
Which is going to be giving shout outs to all of our new
that
Patreons.
is our favorite.
And also, a lot of times they have great references in there and other things. And I just want to let you guys know, we've been reading some of the messages. Incredible messages that you guys have been sending us over at patreon.com/PearlMania500.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I want to give 2 shout outs.
Okay, 2 shout outs.
Two major shout out messages. Number one was to the person who sent us a message telling us, because you talked about the movie Enchanted.
Ever After.
Sorry. And somebody sent us a message telling us how much their grandmother
Oh my
loved
God.
Ever After
She was interned with the VHS.
in the casket. That's number one. That was
Same.
incredible.
Hashtag same.
Incredible. I now know what to bury Mrs. P in when I
Yeah.
bury her in the backyard as she vanishes because I replace her with AI. I will.
Please,
keep
please,
on.
please
You know
do.
what? You know what?
Please
Keep on
do.
not making white people tacos.
Okay.
Number two, the second message that really, and this one, incredible. This is incredible. This is some of the direct actions we're talking about. There was a fan of ours who also has fans of her own because
Yeah.
she posts on a very specific website
With fans.
With fans. Some, are there other people than fans? No. There is.
Only fans.
So she made a deal where she was like, hey, if you post a picture, you prove to me that you joined your library or you've taken a class at your local library and you've gotten more involved there, I'll give you a discount or some free pictures or whatever. And she said it was very successful.
Very successful.
Very
this
successful.
This is the type of work we're talking about in the community.
So I'm not saying. I'm just
saying, use what you got.
Exactly.
Do what you can.
Do you have a recipe that you like to lord over people? Well, tell them, hey, maybe go to a congressional town hall and then I'll give you my brownie recipe.
Yeah.
Hey, are you just a cool person with good vibes and you know how to sing songs? Then go to people and be like, hey, I'm going to put on a concert if more people go register to vote. All these different things. Whatever it is, the thing that you can think of, figure out how can you get more people? How can you influence and push more people around you in real life? Not on the internet, in real life, in your town and your community across the United States and the world. I remember we have one listener in Singapore, so, and the world. How can you get
Senator,
them?
I'm Singaporean.
How can you get them, get more people to make the world just a slightly better place today and tomorrow and forever? And I'm not saying you have to do it right now, but hurry the fuck up. We've been assigning this homework to you now for months, and it's been getting worse out here.
We don't expect everyone listening to this podcast to solve all the problems in the world. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Calm down.
We don't expect.
Do what you can.
Maybe
Don't burn yourself
Maybe
out.
mom over there doesn't expect it, but daddy expects you to fix it. Fix it for daddy.
Oh, no.
All right,
We
let's
gotta
get
go
those
do
shout outs and
shout-outs.
we'll be right back after this. Right now, as you're listening to this, your information is being sold on the internet. And it's not being in the dark web somewhere hidden in some site that only certain people know. It's out in the open. Your information, a file with your name, home address, phone number, and more are being sold by data brokers. And they're being sold to anyone, scammers, stalkers, anyone out there that wants to get your information can get it easily from these data brokers. But don't worry, I have a solution today to help you protect yourself from that, and that is to join Deletme. I've been partnered with Deletme for some time now, and Deletme has helped me remove my information from data brokers, background check companies, and more from across the internet. Through their subscription service and their helpful portal, I've been able to monitor my private data across the internet and make sure that I'm more secure than ever before. You can also get a discount on this service today. Go to joindeletme.com/pearlmania20 or check the link in our description for more information. That's joindeletme.com/pearlmania20. Go find out more information today and protect yourself right now across the internet.
Pearlmania, 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 Pearlmania.
500.net
For Patreon exclusive content.
Oh, yeah. Listen, we always have such a good time on this show, and I just want to say thank you once again to all of our Patreons. We have such a thick
Thickum list. Well, we didn't do them
thickum
last
list.
week because the
Book club
always runs a little long.
Yeah, but there's also been so many people have been joining us recently. We've had a huge influx of people coming in and joining us, and also
because we provide a lot of cool content.
But also because you know what happens when they join? They become part of the best comment section on the internet,
That's
which
true.
is an exclusive club that only the coolest people with $5 are allowed to join over on
Facts.
Patreon.com. We don't do a Discord. We don't do anything else.
Honestly, the comment section is so much funnier than us all the time.
All the time. They always come up with great ideas.
I laugh so hard reading our comments.
You ready? Wait, you want to hear how funny these people are? Let's
Yeah.
go ahead and start out with some of their names.
Sure.
Some of the interesting names that people come up with. Sweaty Yeti _ and the _ gay agenda.
Sweaty Yeti and the Gay Agenda. Hey, hun.
After a Sweaty Yeti and the Gay Agenda, we have Patricia Riley.
Hey, Patricia. Hey, hun.
After that, we have Artex, the creator.
Artex, the creator?
That's
hey,
pretty
hun.
cool. That's
I
a
like
fucking
that.
cool name.
That's a cool name.
After that, we have Alex's last brain cell. Queef.
Oh, no.
It's all one word. They put a
So-
comma between brain cell and queef.
Yeah, so your last brain cell queefed out your butt.
Yep, that's 100% what happened. Yep. After that, we have Kay the Bunna King.
Hey, hun.
After that, we have Danny.
Hey, Danny.
After Danny, we have Alicia or Alasia.
Hey, hun. I
Man,
hope you got it right.
I hope I had it right too. I'm gonna go with Alicia.
Okay.
After that, we have Jane Lynn Chora
Hey, hun.
or Cora.
Cora.
Chora. I'm gonna go with Cora.
All right, Cora.
Jane Lynn Cora. After that, we have this is a long one. This is all one. Okay. Watched one YouTube because you look like my son _ stayed for the content. You know what?
Nice.
Okay.
Hey, hun.
You
hey,
just
Mom.
hold on. Stop. Everybody shut up. Stop. I want you to know. It was been almost a year ago to the day when we started actually making videos for the YouTube channel. And it's been a whole thing. I don't like it. I don't like the fact I'm on camera.
Yeah.
I get annoyed by it. It's a whole extra amount of work. However, to find out that one mom
Yeah.
joined all the way to become a Patreon
Yeah.
who stopped because you look like my son and then go, you know what? This is really good.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you. You have just made a year of work worth it.
Hell yeah.
Just you, nobody else.
Okay.
Just
That
you.
seems like a lot.
It is a lot.
What about the work I did?
You did do a lot. But not as much work as Jessica Marathi.
Hey, Jessica. Hey, hun.
After that, we have Sarah Halls.
Hey, Sarah Halls.
Then we have Katie.
Hey, Katie.
Then we have Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Yeah.
Hey, hun.
Uncross your arms. There we go. Now say it.
Sunshine.
There we go. After that, we have Sian Patrick Marshall.
Oh, hey, hun.
Then we have KT Rex.
KT Rex.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey,
It's
hun.
pretty cool. That's a cool name. Hannah Mack.
Hey, Hannah.
After that, we have I_lost_the_game.
Uh-oh. I don't
Lost
know
the
what game
game.
we were playing.
No, I lost the game.
I lost the game?
Yeah, you lost the game.
I did?
Yeah, we all lost the game. Everyone just lost the game.
Okay.
You don't know the game?
No.
Mentioning the game means you lose the game.
I don't know what that is.
It's a game where you it's hard to explain the game,
Okay.
but the game is the thing that we're always playing.
Is that like Punch Buggy?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. The game is don't lose the game. You lose the game by talking about the game, by knowing about the game, by thinking about the game. And so just by acknowledging the game, you've lost the game.
Okay.
That's the game.
This feels like a lot.
This is what we had before video games.
Oh, I just played Don't Break the Ice. That was my favorite.
After that, we have Bob Ferguson.
Hey, Bob.
What a cool name.
Hey, hon.
Bob Ferguson is such a cool fucking name. I don't know why. I love you. Bob Ferguson? I just feel like
Bobby Ferg?
I just feel like if you just like, hey, it's me, Bob Ferguson. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
He probably is younger too. He just has an old man name.
Yeah.
Like Bob Ferguson. After that, we have Rookie.
Hey, Rookie. Hey, hun.
Up next, Jax and his mom.
Jax and his mom?
We're getting a lot of mom
All
content.
the moms. Mom content. Mom tent.
Okay, up next, you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Uh-huh.
_
Yep.
birds.
Facts.
_ Super Bowl.
Yup.
_ champions.
Yup.
_ RIP. _ Phillies polls.
Facts. R.I.P. to the polls.
Go Birds, Super Bowl champions. RIP Phillies polls.
But, you know, our taxes pay for those polls. They're our polls. We can do what we want with them.
Yo, bring a poll down, carry it to home. Bring it to your friend.
I paid for it. It's mine.
Yo, knock knock.
Who's there?
Poll.
Poll who?
Poll not here no more. You took too long, cop.
Car accidents.
After Go Birds.
Go Birds.
We have Natasha.
Hey, Natasha.
Up next, we have AKA _ Cactus _ Chris.
Cactus Chris.
Cactus Chris.
Nice. Hey,
I
hon.
like that. After that, we have librarian _ here _4 _ library _ lovers.
Hey, a librarian's here for library lovers. That's
Hey,
us.
Thank you so much, librarian, for being a librarian.
Hey, librarian. I know your job is exhausting,
Yeah.
and we appreciate everything you do. All librarians. Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work,
Yeah.
and you're doing it, and we appreciate it.
And you know what? You've taken too long. Go shelve another book.
No, hey,
Hey, what?
don't talk to librarians that way.
I'll talk to them however I want.
No, you won't. Shh,
Arr,
shh.
arr.
You gotta be quiet in the library.
Oh, sorry. I hope we have never made you laugh so loud while you're wearing AirPods that you get shushed by a coworker.
I think we have.
Probably have.
Yeah.
Up next, we have Blue Space Wizard.
Oh, Blue Space Wizard. Hey, hun.
After that, we have Redacted for Fun.
Nice.
What an episode to be added to, huh? Yeah. All right, let me see. Exist.
What?
Okay, hold on. I'm going to get this. Okay, there's a bunch put in here.
Okay.
Okay, I got it.
All right.
Existential loser.
Existential loser.
Yeah, so it looked like it said existential loser. And then I put it together. I was like, oh, it is actually existential loser, but they wrote it crazy.
I understand.
Yep.
I know what you're going for. I appreciate it. Hey, hun.
Up next, they have 2 If by Fire.
Oh, hey, hun.
That is awesome.
Nailed it.
Wow, we're getting real.
Nailed
After 2 If by Fire, we have Hey There.
Hey there.
Hey
hun.
there. It's like Hey Hun, but hey there.
Hey there.
After that, we have Sunday Me Time Crash Out.
Fuck,
Yo,
dude.
that is
Hell
yes,
yeah, dude.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
That is kind of what our show is. That is kind of what our show
Every
is.
Sunday, we're here to crash out.
After that, we have Allison.
Hey, Allison.
After that, we have Valerie Jagata
Hey, Valerie.
or Jagta. After that, we have Simon LaBerge.
Hey, Simon LaBerge.
He's Canadian.
Oh, okay.
He reached out earlier and was like, I'm Canadian. And I was like, oh, we want to
Good
go
luck. Do you want to adopt us?
Yeah, we're like, we would love to be there. We'd love to visit. Hopefully, we can get there before the war. After that, we have John Tomas II.
Hey, John.
Up next, we have Christy with a C.
Christy with the C. Hey, hun.
After that, we have Chicky Nugs.
Chicky Nugs. Hey, hun.
Chicky Nugs. I can't wait. I cannot wait until our son is old enough for Chicky Nugs.
Yeah.
Just so he can be like, Chicky Nugs.
Chicky Nugs.
You ready for Chicky Nugs?
Dino Nugs. Dino Nuggies.
Dino Nuggies is life. You know when you had a surgery a long time ago, and I had to care for you while you were bedridden and like, what was that movie where she keeps breaking his legs?
Oh, with the Kathy Bates.
Yes.
Misery.
You were. It was that level there, where you were the guy in the bed, and I would bring you food and be like, "Have you made more content?" But during that time, we discovered gluten-free Dino Nuggies.
Yeah,
and I could
Dino
air fry.
Nuggies,
So I could air fry for you
with a little bit of ranch.
a little bit of ranch on the side, and
bit
that
of
was
ranch.
all I fed you for like a week.
My body was like, we're so sick, please.
Like,
Sir, a
please,
vegetable.
Please,
An egg.
one piece of broccoli. And I was like, have another chicky nug. Have you finished writing your podcast yet?
I was like, I would just like some water, please.
After chicky nugs, we have I_joined_Patreon_here_you_cook.
Oh, hey, hon.
I joined Patreon to hear you cook. Thank you so much for joining our Patreon to hear us cook. This week's episode's a doozy.
Yep.
With the Gringo Tacos. After that, caught up _now sad.
Oh, no. Hey, hon.
Caught up now sad. Well, congratulations.
Well.
You can now listen to a lot of episodes of the warm up. There's a lot of other things there on the Patreon. So you aren't caught up completely.
Yeah.
You're getting
and there's
there.
new things all the time.
How did you catch up? That's crazy. We have so much
The
content
new
to be catch up.
horrors. Welcome to the new horrors.
After that, we have Kayla_from_Delaware.
Hey, Kayla.
Hey, and you know what, Kayla? I'm going to be doing a show in Delaware in the near future. I just a friend of mine reached out to me. I will have more information about that soon. So listen out. It's going to be somewhere in Wilmington. Up next, in my Goblin era.
Oh, babes.
Who got out?
Yeah.
How'd you get out?
When did we leave?
We've been in Goblin era since, I want to say, the second they were like, I'm goblining. And I was like, oh, that's what we've been doing.
Oh, yes. I am a couch burrito.
According to J.K. Rowling, I've been goblining since birth.
Oh, okay.
Because she's a racist. Up next.
She is. Not
She
even a
is.
joke.
Yeah, no. In my Goblin era, you're an amazing person. J.K. Rowling, bigot. After that, Wednesday Leo Rain.
Hey, hon.
Up next, Cloud K.
Hey, hon.
Up next, Kayla Joe.
Hey, Kayla.
Up next, not secretly a Fed. This might be true because I might get fired. JK.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Listen, we appreciate the work you do to help support our government in whatever capacity you do it in.
After not secretly a Fed, we have Alexis.
Hey, Alexis.
After that, we have Goose.
Hey, goose. I love a goose. I was thinking, you see them goose that people put in their lawns and then they get different outfits for them.
Oh,
I think I need to become one of those
no,
people.
we're not being them.
I want to be one of those people.
No.
They dress up the geese like
we
Each
have
holiday.
a child. No, look at me. We have a child to dress.
Yeah.
You got to dress the child.
But what about the little goose?
We don't have time to
Little
dress
Christmas goose.
We don't have time to dress
Easter
a fake
goose. A goose dressed up like a bunny. That's funny shit right there.
We have 2 names left.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I'm just thinking goose.
It's
Hey,
a
hon.
good. Listen, I am with you. It's a good idea.
Hey, goose.
After Goose, we have Adra Dro.
Hey, Adra.
Okay. And then finally,
Okay.
are you ready?
No.
We have joining the podcast and joining the Patreon, Mrs. Poop Feet.
I'm sorry, what?
Mrs. Poop Feet.
I don't know what to say, hon.
That's their name.
That okay.
Say hey, hun, Mrs.
Hey,
Poop.
hun, Mrs. Poop Feet.
Yep. So to everyone out
Really
there,
feel like I stepped in it. Nailed it. Got him.
Mrs. P.
Yes.
Not to be confused with Mrs. Poop Feet, because that is also Mrs. P.
Yeah, that's also Mrs. P.
What do we want to tell people to put in the comments?
Oh, okay. It's a really difficult one with this episode.
It really is.
You've already made a call to action in the comments already.
I know, but we have to do the end of episode call to action as well. How about just R.I.P. to the goat?
R.I.P. to the goat.
R.I.P. to the goat, John Brown. You were pretty cool. There also were a shit ton of other people who also fought against slavery who didn't get anywhere near the. You know what it is? Actually, real quick, I meant to mention this earlier.
What?
The part that's crazy about John Brown is like the reason we know so much about him is because it was so crazy that a white dude did it.
Yeah.
But also, it's very much guy at a meeting who speaks up that says the exact thing a woman just did.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Nat
Yeah.
Turner's rebellion. There's all these other different things that happen like over and over and over again. But then you're like looking at it, you're like, whoa. Why is this guy?
Yeah, he wedge saladed it.
Yeah.
But with a
100%.
lot of energy.
A lot
He
of
went
good,
above and
it
beyond.
was good energy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it wasn't.
Yeah.
But it does
He
feel
wedge salad really hard.
John Brown is the he is like the Elvis of abolitionists. Where it's like,
He's super successful at stealing what black people were currently doing.
yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
like, all right, yeah, just kind of repackaged it. And then some people are like, nah, that's actually pretty cool. And once you put it like that.
It's cool when he does it.
You know what? Once you add just a little bit of sour cream, that's a callback.
How
That's a callback.
dare you?
To Vibing with the Food Idiot this week. All right, that's been our episode, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, I know what I want you to write in the comments. This is officially what you're going to write in the comments. Go, yum, 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 yum. I love them tacos.
Oh my God, he's lost.
Not
his
gonna make
mind.
any sense.
This is our third episode. We gotta go.
Ah, okay, guys. Hey, listen. Let me end it with this. I love each and every one of you. Now follow my commands.
Too many frauds and too many scammers that we wish weren't real. Too many cons and too many spammers, and we're starting to feel like we've got too many tabs open. It's too many tabs. Remember to smile.
No, but see, that'll weird them out.
That's
I sprinkled it in to
very
weird 'em
uncomfortable.
out.
It's really uncomfortable.